Miss Jeannie, do you mind reading this one for us? I know it's quite long.
Alrighty, here we go. Our answers are A, C 44.319, D 04.39, D 48.5, and D 22.39. B, C 44.319, and D 22.39. C is C 44.202, C 44.40, D 22.23, and D 22.39. D is C 44.202, C 44.309, D 48.5, and D 49.2. Okay, operative report. Preoperative diagnoses: basal cell carcinoma forehead, basal cell carcinoma right cheek, suspicious lesion left nose, suspicious lesion left forehead. Postoperative diagnosis: basal cell carcinoma forehead with clear margins, basal cell carcinoma right cheek with clear margins, compound nevus left nose with clear margins, epidermal nevus left forehead with clear margins. Indications for surgery: the patient is a 47-year-old white man with a biopsy-proven basal cell carcinoma of his forehead and a biopsy-proven basal cell carcinoma of his right cheek. We were not quite sure of the patient's location of the basal cell carcinoma of the forehead, whether it was a midline lesion or lesion to the left. We felt the lesion of the left forehead for biopsy. This was marked for elliptical excision with gross normal margins of 2 to 3 millimeters in the relaxed skin tension lines of his face. I also drew a possible rhomboid flap that we would use if the wound became larger. He observed all these margins in the mirror so he could understand the surgery and agree on the locations, and we proceeded. Description of procedure. All 4 areas were infiltrated with local anesthetic. The face was prepped and draped in sterile fashion. I excised the lesion of the forehead measuring 6 millimeters and right cheek measuring 1.3 centimeters as I had drawn them and set in for frozen section. The biopsies were taken off of the left forehead and left nose using a 2 millimeter punch, and these wounds were closed with 6-0 proline. Meticulous hemostasis was achieved of those wounds using Bovie cautery. I closed the cheek wound first. Defects were created at each end of the wound to facilitate primary closure, and because of this, I considered a complex repair, and the wound was closed in layers using 4-0 monocryl, 5-0 monocryl, and a 6-0 proline, with total measurement of 2.1 centimeters. The forehead wound was closed in layers using 5-0 monocryl, 6-0 proline, with total measurement of 1 centimeter. Loop magnification was used, and the patient tolerated the procedure well. What ICD-10 CM codes are reported? We'll start with 2.5 minutes and see how that goes. And your time will start now. All right, coders, that is time. I actually gave you an extra minute because that was a long procedure. So if you can go ahead and get your answers in the chat.
Thank you, Miss Jeannie. All right, I'm just going to kind of hang out here for a minute while you all get your answers and your keywords in. Great job, Patty. Andrea, you got it. Wayne, that's right. Yes, Tiffany. You got it, Pearly. Awesome, Carla. Okay, so I know this one looks kind of intimidating, right? There's a lot going on. It looks like a lot going on here, but really it's not, and you're going to see it by these keywords. Yes, Dolores, great job. Sarmi, yes, that's right. Okay, so you'll be able to see I don't have very many keywords. A lot of this is just fillers, and if I look at my answers first, it's going to tell me a lot about how to approach the scenario because I have all of these codes here. They're ICD-10 codes, okay? So I'm just going to focus on my diagnoses here. And if I look here at the first listed codes, I see they all have C, so that's for malignancy or for, remember C for cancer, and then we have some D codes as well, okay, so those are for our benign or non-cancerous, okay, so just some things to think about. All right, so going to my keywords, I have my pre-operative diagnoses followed by post-operative diagnoses. So remember things we do not code, pre-operative diagnoses in the setting of post or pathology confirmed diagnoses, and we have some pathology or some post-operative diagnoses here. So that's where I'm going to be looking at. I'm not going to be looking at the pre-op diagnosis. I want to look at the post-op diagnoses, okay? And our post-op there is basal cell carcinoma of the forehead. We have basal cell carcinoma of the right cheek. We have a compound nevus of the left nose, epidermal nevus, left forehead. Okay. We have a 47-year-old man, biopsy-proven basal cell carcinoma, forehead, biopsy-proven basal cell carcinoma, right cheek. So it's basically saying what we have up there in a post-operative diagnosis. We have basal cell carcinoma of right cheek. So it's basically just repeating itself there. Excise. So going down to the procedure, I don't really need to take too much from the procedure here because I'm just coding for this diagnosis, but I want to just kind of pull out the diagnoses from this procedure. So excised lesion forehead of the right cheek, excised lesion of forehead and right cheek. Biopsies were taken of left forehead and left nose. Okay. And we are coding for the ICD-10 code. So basically that's all I need here, not very many keywords. Okay, so let's go ahead. Our answer is B, and I'm going to look these up with you guys. So first of all, let's go ahead and look up that C44202. Okay, I see that in answer C and D, they share the same first listed code. Answer A and B share the same first listed code. So looking at C44202, this is for an unspecified malignant neoplasm of skin of right ear and external auricular canal. Okay, so right ear, if I look at my post-op diagnoses, I'm dealing with forehead, cheek, and nose. Okay, I don't see anything about an ear here. Okay, that's C44202. It's pretty specific. Okay, so I don't like that code, but I'm going to look at C44319 and see what that tells me. And that says it's for basal cell carcinoma of skin of other parts of face. Okay, so again, we have, and if you look up here at C44202, it's an unspecified malignant neoplasm. We do have a specified one, basal cell carcinoma, okay, of the forehead and of the cheek. And there's really not a specific code, and I'm going to show you that in a minute, or after we leave this page and go on to the next. But this C44319 basal cell carcinoma of skin of other parts of face. Okay, so keep that in mind. I'm going to get rid of C44202. Okay, because we're definitely not coding unspecified malignant neoplasm, and we're definitely not coding the ear. That's wrong location. Okay, so now I have A and B that I'm dealing with. I know my first listed code there. Now I'm going to look at my second listed codes. So if I look at D04.39, that is for carcinoma in situ of skin of other parts of face. I don't see anything in my scenario mentioning about a carcinoma in situ. So D04.39 is going to be incorrect. And if I go down to D22.39, that's for a melanocytic nevi of other parts of face. Okay, and we do have some nevus of the left nose and left forehead up there. So keeping that in mind, let's go ahead and look at D48.5. That's neoplasm of uncertain behavior of skin. Okay, and I don't see, in order to code this of uncertain behavior, I'd have to say that. I don't see anything in my scenario saying that, okay, uncertain behavior. So that's also incorrect, okay? So, and then D22.39 in answer A, that last code we've already looked up. So A actually is incorrect, and B is the correct answer, but because these are very non-specific, I do want to look those codes up. Typically in a multiple choice setting, you don't go to your tabular list, but in this case, I do want to just double check because it's not really specifying. It's just, you know, kind of being a little bit vague on these. So just to kind of show you, if we go to the neoplasm table, okay, and we go to the forehead, and go down to basal cell carcinoma, that gives us a code of C44.319, okay, which that's our first answer there in answer B. And then if we look up cheek, it also gives us C44319. So forehead and cheek share the same code. So we would only code it once. No need to code it twice. So that's why you see 4 things up there, but we only are coding for 2 because that C code shares, the forehead and the cheek share the same code, that for the same C code. And then if we look up nevus, it gives us D22.9. Okay, nevus, nevus of forehead gives us D22.9. And also nevus of nose gives us D22.39, okay? So they both share this, they both have the same code just like that C code, so we would only need to report it once for the nevus of the nose and forehead, okay? And that's the path we follow, and B is the final answer. So let me know about that one, you guys. You get it? If you didn't get it correct, let me know if you see now where you went wrong. Okay, I see some of you had changed your answers. Like, that's good. You caught yourself. Okay, perfect. Great. Well, great job on that one. So you see on this how really we didn't need a lot of keywords. This is a lot of filler words that we didn't really need. And also pay attention to what you're coding for. ICD-10 only needs to be focused on the diagnosis, really, okay?